almost there. No way. What is this? You're tuned in to the Eyes Open podcast, where secrets aren't safe and we see it all.
One of the funniest things I used to always hear back in the day, well, we could just say when technology was really starting to take over, is people will sit there and they'll be like, oh, I don't want no tracking device on my car. I don't want none of these new type of cars, or I don't want that Alexa in my house that's listening to all my conversations. Yet they're, got laptops probably open up all over their house. Got smartphones on them. That's literally a tracking device. Even if it's shut off, you still track you with it. But I mean, it's amazing how, us as humans sometimes are just completely not only, I would say, unrealistic, but just not seeing the world for what it really is. We're wanting so bad to push against this takeover of technology that's happening, but there's really nothing mankind can do about it. There's nothing really that's going to stop it. So on today's episode, we're going to get into a lot of different things, especially with the news that's been going on lately. We've had some pretty crazy news going on. We're going to touch on a couple of these topics, but I found it very interesting when you think about it. Like, how much have we progressed? Okay, not just technologically, but surveillance-wise, because it's almost like the slow push has been so slow, people are turning around and not even realizing how cameras are just popping up in more places. Things are becoming more surveilled left and right. Back in the day, people would go nuts if you were putting up cameras in different places, and now it seems like you can't turn around without seeing one. But before we get into today's episode, as always, I want to send a huge shout out to all the subscribers out there, and also a huge shout out to Prima, our sponsors. You guys got to go check them out. If you guys are out there eating these garbage protein bars, okay, take a look at the garbage that's in this food that you're eating. All right. And there's a lot of people out there like myself that eat protein bars. And I used to eat some of the ones that had, oats and a bunch of trash in it until I really realized is like, oats is for horses. But it was really hard to find because based on what my diet was at of mainly, high fat, no carb, no sugar, mainly meat diet, meat and cheese, eggs, stuff like that. I was trying to find a protein bar that was, more towards carnivore as much as you could, but this stuff is next level. Like, these are actually actually taste pretty good, and there's no garbage in them. Like, their slogan is, I love it. Join the fight against fake food. Okay? This is what you want right here is Prima. If you guys are working out, looking for that boost in the middle of the day, even if you don't work out, like I said, you're just looking for some extra protein in the middle of the day, this is where it's at. No seed oils. There's nothing you can find. Just do me that favor. Go to the store and go look on the back of all your products. You can't find anything without that shit in it nowadays. Seed oils is in everything. So this is actually real food and will give you real energy, and you don't have to worry about, the guilt of eating trash. This is actually something I eat every day, and I stand by 100%. So shout out to Prima for all their support with the show, because like I'd said, they're trying to do everything they can to demonetize, to stop the Eyes Open podcast, but thanks to our sponsors and thanks to me pushing on no matter what, that's not going to happen. So the show goes on as always. Because like I said, even when the big checks do come one day, all right, and somebody does come knocking and say, hey, we want to license your show out. I've had a few offers from companies that were, some broadcasting companies, some people that were in that field. And it's just, there's, in the beginning, I believe, and when you're not really that big of a podcaster, they want to take too much control. And that's the last thing I'm letting anybody do with this show. I'd rather make $0, be able to talk about whatever I want with nobody trying to censor me. Because most of these shows, that's what it is. They have their puppet masters. They have their, sponsors essentially that they don't show you like this. Like, you know, I could decide just not to, you know, be with Prima anymore if I wanted to, but we both reached out to each other, and I thought it was a good product because I tried it out, and I said, you know what, this is something, you know, I would, you know, feel good putting my name on when I looked into it. So especially Prima, Italian like myself, I love the name. But yeah, it's just good products. That's the only thing you will see supported on this channel. And even if I had 0 sponsors, all right, I started the show with no sponsors. I started the show making $0. The money is not going to matter. The truth is still going to come out. So, but all the people, I can tell you though, all the subscribers, the people that do subscribe to the channel, it's much appreciated because it does go towards helping with production and stuff like that. So I really do appreciate all you guys. But let's get down to brass tacks for today. So it had me thinking with everything that's been going on, because people don't talk about it as much anymore. Now, it was big and everybody was talking about it during the Snowden times because Edward Snowden had exposed that essentially right through your, you know, laptop. It was insane. Like, if you guys haven't seen that movie Snowden, that shows exactly what they could do. And that was back then. Okay, that was what? It was during the Obama administration. So Obama was trying to get Russia to send them back here. So I think it was like 2013, 2012, somewhere around there. But yeah, he was coming out just telling you guys all about the technology they had. So imagine that's, you know, a decade or more that long ago. So you could imagine the technology that they have now, especially with AI. AI wasn't really doing anything back then. Or was it? That's another thing. I believe a lot of technology is implemented into society long before you guys know anything about it. They beta test it left and right, and you'll see it in, for example, well, here's one example. You definitely see it in the movies. Like, if you watch Total Recall, okay, they're driving around, and essentially they're on what we used to call like Skype, but now it's like FaceTime. So you can essentially drive around in your car now, okay, and talk on the phone. And what was weird is I noticed it's in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, because it was in The Sixth Day too. Like, if you watch The Sixth Day, and that was long before they had self-driving cars. So, but people knew that it was going to come to that. But it was real interesting because it was like the guy was driving his truck and then he stopped and his seat could turn and he could just sit there and talk to the person. So now you have that with the Teslas, and they have the self-driving cabs now, just like in Total Recall. So they do put it in the movies. There's stuff they have to tell you because it's consent at that point. You're allowing it to happen. They're telling you. So just like all of the stuff they're telling you now about Epstein and everything, nobody's doing anything. So it's, you know, implied consent at that point, because nobody's stepping up to do anything about it. They're just accepting that you're run by a bunch of satanic pedophiles. And if that's the case, then I'm just not going to do anything about it. We're just going to sit back and just take it. Which is pretty wild when you think about it. That's how dumbed down, like I said before, the dumbing down of America is complete. But no, the surveillance that they have now is insane. And there was a video I played, because they drop hints. Like Trump, with that, there was a video I made where Trump was talking about, he said, or what's the dust? He said the dust that's in the air and it's like flying around. And I'm like, he's trying to act like he don't know what he's talking about, but he knows exactly what he's talking about. And what he's talking about is, I did this, I forget what episode it was I talked about this. I think it was with the data centers or something. But yeah, so for the people that don't know what smart dust is, it's literally the size of dust. Like, you can't see it, but it could surveil you. So if it was floating around in the air in this room, you wouldn't be able to see it. So that's insane to know something that's, the particles are so small it can float around. You could breathe it in. So it makes you think how much implemented that is into society already. Especially with the old that everybody got. Who knows what was put into that? And there's all types of theories behind that. But I definitely know for a fact, I won't say I definitely know for a fact. Okay, I'm not going to say that. I don't want to use those words. My opinion is that those things were set up so essentially you're like put on the grid because you're hardwired into the system is probably the best way I could explain it. And I believe it's going to play a big role in the controlling of people in general. Now think about it. You cannot tell. Now I've had people even say this, okay? You can't tell me of people that took those that you haven't noticed a difference in those people, that they did change. Like their whole all around self changed. I've noticed it in more than a few people that I know took it. It's weird. It's like they completely turned into a different person almost. It's wild. But besides just the tracking capabilities and the stuff like that, like I said, they're making it more and more easy for people to accept the fact that they're being watched. They did it. They did the slow burn in China, but obviously being a communist country, they're going to take to it a lot easier and they're not really going to care as much. But they did the slow burn in China to where the fact that now they had people like they were showing the facial recognition just to leave your neighborhood and stuff. And there's been more than a few people on my page that come from China and they were saying, oh yeah, it's crazy that they do actually have like a social credit score and they're rolling that stuff out. So like I told you guys, the people at the top run everything. All right. Their testing grounds for what they want to do to you guys is happening in China right now. Like when me and Kevin Annette were talking the other day, we were talking about how what they're doing is they're making you guys accept the technology in a sense, slowly but surely, before you turn around and you're like, what the heck happened? Because people are becoming so self-reliant on it. And that's what's going to end up happening. They're going to merge man with machine so much, and the surveillance is going to become so high that it's going to get to a point where people don't even know which end is up. They're going to get to a point where they're like, how did we even end up here? I don't even know. And then you look at people are finally, what I find is very interesting is people better wake up, okay, to not only what AI is going to do, what the advancement of technology is going to do, but also the fact that people are okay with, moving into this more totalitarian society where I see people like on a line that are out there just filming stuff or whatever, and they have cops coming up. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you filming? They call them the auditors or whatever. They go out and do that stuff, and they're being asked what they're filming, but we never asked, like, what do you guys film? Why is there cameras everywhere? Okay, why do you go around now in a lot of cities? There's cameras all over the place, and they even watch you with satellites. They can zero in on you with the damn satellite. So to act like they can't, they absolutely can. They can surveil you like crazy. And I believe, based off of what I've seen, the technology that I'm a privy to, that I've seen, that I know is more advanced than what a lot of the public has seen, based off that, we are at a pivotal moment, and people are about to see it. We're at a pivotal moment where not only is it going to shift in a certain direction, but when they do it, it's going to pivot fast, because they try to make you think they're all fighting with each other, that they're all against each other. But if you notice, when the CVID happened, everybody had like a protocol that they all went bing, bang, boom, and everybody fell in line. From China to here to all over, everybody fell right in line with that new technology. To the point, that's how you know the brainwashing is working, when they say like, stay home, save lives, or this is the new normal, or there was like all these slogans that people were reading, like, brainwash automatons. So that whole scenario, I think, could have played a part in screwing a lot of people up, I'm sure. But, you know, for me, a lot of that was just straight up comical, man. I mean, there was a lot of comedy that came out of that. And it really, you know, showed human nature. Sometimes when we get put in these situations where they're pushing all of these extra rules on us, they're trying to throw your rights out the window, you know, surveillance is becoming more common. They passed the freaking Patriot Act and gives them a right to, under law, you guys allowed that, to where they can just listen in on your phone calls, not like they didn't already. But now they can listen in. See, if they can listen in and watch you and all this stuff, but it won't be used in court. They'll just use it to watch you, to keep tabs on you. And that's really it. That's all they want to use it for anyways. That's what they use all this technology for. Now, looking at this Wilcox guy who died. If you really look into the story about what happened with him, they are absolutely, there's one of two things going on, I believe, okay? Because he was talking about God. There was a tweet he made where he said, wait till people find out that God is real. He said they're going to flip out. So he, in a sense, that's what he was saying is, so what did he find in all of his research that just proves, you see what I'm saying? And that's what they can't have. They can't burst that bubble. You know, they got to keep the UFO alien crap going on. So in my sense, or my belief, I believe that these scientists came upon something and found something that really is earth-shattering, okay? That could turn the whole world into chaos if it got out. And there's either that, and they silenced them, took them out, or I believe it's all a big psyop. What it really is they want you to think these people are disappearing to either multiple different reasons. To keep you in a state of fear. It's because they're going underground. They just want you to, or, you know, it's proven the point more of what I said is it's implied consent. Because if nobody's doing nothing about it, like, okay, all these people are disappearing and we're not, you know, demanding something to be done. So it's almost like it could be working in a multifaceted way to where they're seeing how much you're going to take, what you're going to do about it, if you're going to do anything about it. And so far, no one is. But people like him are definitely surveilled. People like him have been on lists. People like him have been watched. And I just think it's when you start saying certain narratives that they just cannot deal with, or they can't allow to get out there, because once people's brains start waking up to the world around them, to how much of a cage you're really in, you're just in a very big cage, okay? But you're in a cage. It's just very big and you can travel around. But it's a big cage that we're all in, essentially. And when people start to wake up and realize that, the powers that be can't have that, because then they have a mutiny on their hands. So they want you to accept technology. They want you to accept giving up more of your freedoms just so they can tell you that you're going to be safe. Oh, give this up, okay? Give your rights over here for whatever it may be, and we promise you that everything's going to be fine. But who was it? Benjamin Franklin that said, anyone that trades liberty for security doesn't deserve either one. I believe that's what it said is. But that's the truth. If you trade over your liberty and your rights just for a little temporary security to make yourself feel better, you don't deserve either one of them. Because between AI and surveillance at an all-time high, the world is about to see things coming that they could never imagine in a million years. That's going to be the biggest thing is how people take to this whole complete takeover state. Because like I said, you just have to look at China to see the blueprint. And that's what it's going to be. People like me, I mean, we'll have to live out in the middle of nowhere like I do. Because my social credit score, man, I could only imagine. I'm going to have to go live off in the woods somewhere, because my social credit score won't buy me a freaking ice cream bar. I can guarantee you that. But people are getting way too comfortable with this surveillance. There comes a point where they're like, oh, faster, more. No, we don't need faster internet. We don't need more of this or that. People need to learn to be content where they're at, and we need to stop it. We need to move back in technology. Let's go back to video stores, man. I'm good with that. I don't even care if I had to rewind a tape and go back to VCRs. Let's go move back. Let's go move backwards in time. Let's do that. We could do whatever we want if we really all just went at it. Let's bring back video stores first and foremost. I miss video stores. I don't know about you guys. I miss going there on the weekend, going looking for some movies, get your little snacks and stuff, and go hang out with some friends and watch a movie. I miss those days. Simpler days back then. A lot of us were younger and just didn't know what was going on, but still, simpler days where there was still some hope. These kids nowadays, man, they see the world for what it is. The Bible already said that there will be an overflowing of knowledge, and that's what it is. It's, knowledge is just completely taken over. That people know more. People have the ability with something that's in their hand to know more than most human beings on earth, but they choose to use it to just bitch at each other online. So that's like the wildest thing. So we have the ability to take this technology and use it for good, but we don't. We take it and we always use it for something bad or just something that's worthless. You know what I mean? That's why, like I said, I have the technology. What am I trying to do? Even if it's sitting in the studio trying to talk to some of you guys to hopefully wake some people up. And I know I have, and I'm very pleased for that. I don't care, maybe a handful of people have reached out to me in my whole time on here. Maybe a little bit more, but have said, you know what, man, I really like your channel. You really woke me up to what's going on in the world, and I really appreciate it. Even if it was one person, it makes it worth it. It makes all the difference in the world. If I could wake up one person and bring them closer to Christ, I've done my job. And that's why I believe God put me in the position that I'm in, because I'm here for a mission, and I'm going to continue on that mission as long as I'm here in this world, but not being of this world. That's what it is. The Bible says to detach from this world. I'll put it this way. The world's getting too advanced. All right. Too much surveillance, too much information. It's time to take a step back, I believe. But hey, that's just my opinion.